We saw in the new year anchored off Paihia, between Paihia and Russell, with fireworks in stereo, and what a year it's been. Soon after the new year, we loved having Mum and Mac on board. Mum enjoyed her competitive spirit, learning how to play backgammon with Richard, and they both had a go at steering the boat. Then it was down to Whangarei to haul out, redo the anti-foul, rename the boat and relaunch. Friends in Whangarei Harbour helped us with a fantastic renaming ceremony. Then it was my birthday celebrations in April. It was fantastic to have my 3 children and their partners and friends and family from Melbourne over for the celebrations, which we held in Otahe Bay and Urapukapuka Bay. Then it was all systems go for getting ready for the cruising season. The AIS was activated, Richard finished the new hardtop bimini, and some friends helped us install it. New solar panels went on and I stitched up some windscreens and side covers, and the boat was registered as an Australian ship. We started proudly flying the Australian flag, but then winter started setting in Opua and we knew it was time to head north. We learned to bake bread during the passage, although it wasn't a very friendly passage, with a backtrack in the middle to hide behind Ryle Island for a few days while we waited for a northerly front to go through. The facilities in Tongatapu were pretty rustic, but we washed and recharged and got ready to go up through the Tongan Islands. We went up through the Hapai group and then further on quite quickly to Vavau, which was absolutely stunning. We had a fabulous time there with friend Jim Hutchinson, who had helped us with the passage, and his wife Melanie, who also joined us for our time in Vavau. One of my bucket list items for the year had been to visit my sister Joan in Western Samoa. Arriving and seeing the coast of Samoa for the first time was quite a teary moment, realising that I'd achieved that dream. Joan and husband Paul treated us to an amazing feast at their wonderful home on Ifielieli Plantation. Jams they make and sell at the local market are absolutely delicious, and we came away from our time in Samoa with some wonderful souvenirs and some even more wonderful memories. I managed to break a gear cable while parking the boat near Joan's place, so we stayed a little bit longer than expected. But finally it was time to leave for our passage down to Fiji and Savu Savu. The passage took us about 4 days and we were greeted by dolphins as we arrived. Coming back to Savu Savu was like coming home again because we'd spent time there the year before and really enjoyed it. We didn't stay long but had time for a quick visit from more friends and also to beach the boat to work on the prop and clean the hulls. Then it was off to Vanuatu, and our visit to Tanna was everything we'd hoped for. The yacht club at Port Resolution was just delightful, and the villagers there were really friendly. We were really impressed by the variety and beauty of the weaving in their huts. obligatory trip up to the volcano at Tanna, and it was so impressive to stand on the rim of a crater and see a live volcano erupting. It was a quick stay and then on to our next destination of New Caledonia. This was unfinished business from 5 years ago when I'd done the Groupama race, and it was great to be greeted by dolphins again on arrival. Even more fantastic was to catch up with good friends Annick and Jean-Paul Dot and to explore some of the wonders of the New Caledonian landscape.
Love it. And it's really lovely. People come out here during the day and they provide moorings so people don't damage the coral. It's a lovely place.
Meeting Moose, the island dog, in Beta Prony was an absolute highlight, and the tour he gave us of his island where he lives on his own was a memory.
Hello, Moose. How are you?
Ah, yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Then it was time for the last leg back to New Zealand to complete the circuit for the year. We picked up a new crew member who was really enthusiastic, even though he didn't have much sailing experience, and he proved to be an absolute gem, doing everything we could ask of him and more during the passage. We waited in Noumea for a weather window for nearly a month before we could get going. Once we did get going, it was into a forecast of winds forward of the beam for the whole trip, so it wasn't comfortable, but at least it was safe. We stopped off in Isle of Pines on the way out to make sure that we're leaving on the best possible forecast, and also to do some quick reprovisioning and refueling. Unfortunately, the beautiful baskets we picked up on Isle of Pines didn't last through customs inspection when we arrived in New Zealand, but we took photos thinking it could be a great new project for Efiele. Finally, it was dawn and time to lift anchor and get going at last.
Okay, we're off. Leaving the Isle of Pines. Thank goodness. Richard?
Yeah.
We could sit inside the saloon or behind the windscreen for pretty much the whole passage, and we were really grateful to have that protection from the headwinds. It was great to see our friend Gertrude the gecko back during the passage. We hadn't seen her for a few months. We think it's the same gecko, but we have to say she's looking a bit undernourished.
Hard labour at the mast.
Done a marvellous job of some jury rigging during the passage. The first one was a stainless steel D holding a main sheet block on the boom, sheared off. So 2 jury rigs on that one, finishing with spectra. Of course that happened in 25 to 30 knots. Then twice the main sheet block on the Traveller. the rope getting jammed up in between the block and the casing here. So in the end we had to take the sheet out, and thank goodness for a $300 snatch block that's come in handy. But it's also destroyed our main sheet that we'll probably have to replace in New Zealand. So he's happy now because we've got 19, 18 knots of boat speed, of wind speed, apparent wind speed, and the boat speed's up to 5, 6s, 7s. So we're tracking along, making ground towards Opua.
It makes a difference. Trucking along nicely here. Nice flat sea, nice steady breeze, really lovely. Oh, cat's got out of his seat. There you go.
After 6 days of beating into the wind, it was so good to finally see North Cape.
Just approaching New Zealand off North Cape, fair distance, but we'll probably see it before too long. It's been a horrible night. The wind changes, no wind, but breeze has just come up. It's lovely sailing. Under there somewhere is the legendary Land of the Long White Cloud. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai.
The rest of the passage was pretty uneventful, and we often looked gratefully at the mermaid good luck charm that Jenny and Richard had given us back in Whangarei. After pulling into Opua at 2 a.m. in the morning, we got a few hours sleep and then jumped up to clear customs, have breakfast, a hot shower, hire a car, and disappeared down to Auckland so that I could present at my conference. One compulsory stop on the way out of Bay of Islands was to visit the cemetery where Richard's mother and father are buried and to see the new headstone that his siblings had organised. Unfortunately, we missed the unveiling ceremony while we were in the middle of the Pacific, which we were really disappointed about. But the memorial is just beautiful and such a great tribute to their parents. After the conference, we came back to Bay of Islands on Wednesday evening and went around to Russell for a beautiful dinner at the Duke with a steak that was to die for and that I'd been looking forward to for so long. It even made it worthwhile that we missed the last ferry back to Opua and had to drive the long way round on 20 kilometres of dirt road. The next morning, to further relax, we did a visit up to Ngāwha hot pools. Rotorua has nothing on these pools. They would have to be the best hot pools in New Zealand.
So we're at Ngāwha, which is the most amazing sort of hot springs. I mean, if you've ever been to Rotorua, you'll know what we mean, but these are just a hidden gem that are in Northland. They're just wonderful. And I've been coming here all my life, 65 years. And so they've just actually done a lot of work here. So a lot of the paths are all new, and which is great. But it was very, very, very rustic, to say the least, and it still is. There's Kath down there in her pool, being very, very... Oh, thank you, Kath. That's great.
So now the circuit's complete. We feel really proud of what we've accomplished this year, even if we're not sure how much of it we want to do again next year. We think maybe a few less miles and a bit more time sitting in one spot enjoying it and getting to know more about it. There are no more pages left in our trusty logbook, and our season's come to an end. But although this chapter's closed, it's been a fantastic maiden cruising year for Persistent Shift, and no doubt we'll be back next year with a new logbook and ready for more adventures.